I was born by the river. Yeah, y'all like my Sam Cooke, huh? Yeah, change gonna come. Change gonna come when you do something about it, man. All right, check it out, man. I I've been following what's going on with this whole politic thing for the past year and a half or so, and just noticing how emotionally invested people get into it, especially people in our community. And okay, it's good. It's good that you're investing emotion and wanting change. There's nothing wrong with wanting change. Okay, but I mean, I don't understand what y'all expect to get out of this incoming administration. All right, a lot of the people in our community, they seem to think, Joe Biden is the second coming of Abraham Lincoln, and he gonna tear off the shackles and win. All right, I'm not gonna go over everything that I know, but the future is not looking bright, man. And I mean, the victimhood mentality that this Democratic Party is pushing upon the so-called black man and the so-called people of color and the LGBTQ community and all this, and it just baffles me that people are falling for the same old tricks. And if you know anything about the civil rights movement, you would know that in the mid 70s, especially, I'm not sure when Lyndon Baines Johnson was the president, don't quote me on that, but he succeeded John F. Kennedy. And you gotta understand the way that they set this stuff up. So in the time of John F. Kennedy's presidency, when we had Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, etc., they kind of created that order out of chaos paradigm. They didn't create it, but they definitely utilized it, and they utilized it tough on us. You know, John F. Kennedy was the people's president, the first television president, and there's a lot of info on him too that needs to be brought out, but we'll do that a different time. As well as Martin Luther King and some of these other guys, especially the guys that was behind the scenes of Martin Luther King that nobody ever talks about. A. Philip Randolph, Stanley Levinson, Bayard Rustin. Okay, there's a lot of things that people don't talk about, but they kind of created that versus thing going on to where it almost seemed like John F. Kennedy wouldn't quite pass a lot of the legislation that the civil rights were pushing. And when John F. Kennedy got bumped off, they brought in Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was a hardcore socialist. He was nothing but an asset of the bankers, and he's the one that brought in a lot of the legislation. And I mean, if you if you just pay attention, a lot of the reforms and stuff that gave black people equal rights back then, uh, they were all passed for the most part. I mean, there's really nothing on paper in law that says, black person, you are 2/3 of a human like it used to be. All those provisions were passed, and yet they're still pushing the civil rights movement, and a large majority of the black people that you see are all for it. But this is my question: what are you trying to get past? Because I mean, if you pay close attention, they're intrinsically linking the homosexual, the transgender. They're intrinsically linking that to to the plight of our struggle. And that that just leads to the question of what legislation you think is going to get passed that's going to benefit you. Is my question. You know, where do we go from here? All right, and you know, a lot of people, a lot of people seem to think Abraham Lincoln was such a great guy, and the North was trying to liberate the slaves and things like that. Look, the North had slaves, the South had slaves. And something I touched on this on earlier video that I did. That you know, all wars are economic wars. They don't fight wars because of what's right and what's wrong. They fight wars because they have there's an asset that they want, whether money, people, land, gold, oil. All right, the Civil War was no different, just like the Revolutionary War. Okay, that was all. The Civil War, all it was a civil war. In the Civil War was that the South had their own colonial script. They had their own money that they were printing based on how much gold there was. So there was always gold backing the money. You know, throughout history, gold and silver has always been money. This fiat currency that we have now, these Federal Reserve notes, is not truly money. It's just currency. All right, so it gets printed out of thin air with no gold or silver backing it. And nonetheless, the South had their own colonial script, and the North was banked by the international bankers over in London, or Great Britain, should I say, the Red Coast. And I mean, they had slaves as well. So I mean, the narrative is just a total fallacy. But pretty much what the whole point of the Civil War was for the North to pretty much declare either come down hard on the South. I can't remember which way it was. Either it came down hard on the South and the South revolted and started the war. But either way, there was provocateurs on each side. Women such as Harriet Tubman, for instance. All right, we can touch on that in another video. Got information on her as well. But the North and the South, the South was pretty much building and producing a lot of the goods for the whole country. The railroad system was built by the South, you know, and they had a lot of the crops, the sharecropping and all that. And the North wanted to get in on it. The North pretty much just wanted to tax everyone, and be able to control the monetary system of everyone. They didn't like that the Confederacy was, you know, making their own money and not having to pay what the bankers felt they needed to pay. So I mean, it's just a lot of the stuff is very nuanced and a total fallacy. Honestly, honestly, a lot of us is just a total fallacy. They feed you a straight narrative, man. But that's the whole point of these wars. But just get back to my point. You can ask anybody. I implore anybody to do it. And I've done it, but I mean, it's just a total waste of time because I already know what the answer is. I implore you, anybody that says they voted for Joe Biden, I want you to ask them, you know, first of all, you know, why did you vote? I mean, just if you're curious, why did you vote for Joe Biden? And can you give me a rundown of his policies and what he plans to do? All right. Just for instance, I mean, just some of the things you can look at. His Secretary of Treasury is a woman named Janet Yellen. And Janet Yellen, she's been serving, I'm pretty sure she was a chairman of the Federal Reserve. If you don't know, the Federal Reserve is, quote unquote, who we're in debt to. And they're the ones who print our money. Technically, they're the ones that loan the money in the Treasury. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm gonna say how it was set up to be, that the Federal Reserve issues the money, and the U.S. Treasury actually prints and distributes the money. But it has not been like that for a while now. We're pretty much getting our money directly from the Federal Reserve. This is what they don't tell you. This is what they don't want you to know. You know, if you didn't know, the Federal Reserve's balance sheet doubled last year. Doubled in 1 year. From, I think, 4 trillion to almost 7 trillion. And with all these stimulus checks coming, it's going to get even more massive. And this is the thing that I want to get across to people. The Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury is now publicly merged. So if you thought it was uh, corporations were maximizing off of your hard labor, and you were tired of getting taxed, and you were tired of uh, the price of goods inflating and the money and the price of something going up every year, it's about to get a lot worse. And I'm not saying it's this man's fault. It's really the Federal Reserve and the Treasury is who's been behind it the whole time. And as long as they keep us oblivious, they're just gonna be able to do it. But this is the thing, is that they're doing it around the world. They're they're really moving towards a one globe, one world, one religion, one currency. They want everything to be the same. This is why they push, a lot of the agendas they do now. You know, talking about you can't go to church and things like that. Okay, how you gonna tell people they can't go to church and, this, that, and the third? But that's what they wanna. They wanna really get people in one accord as far as religion goes. And this isn't a Bible channel or nothing like that, but I just ask people these questions. Why are we not taught about religion in school? Why are we not taught about spirituality or anything in school? We don't want to talk about religion in school, yet we get a Christmas break. So please explain to me what we're celebrating Christmas for if we don't believe in the Bible and we don't believe in God. All right. And so that's just an aside. Go back to the point. If you thought things were bad the way they were, it's about to get a lot worse, man. And I'm not trying to say that for you to lose hope. Really, this should be the time that you kind of adjust what you got planned for the future. Start setting more money aside. Start looking at other assets. Start educating yourself on the money system. And this is the thing. These people don't give a fuck about us at all. At all. So why are we continuously, and this year's got even more. You've seen a lot of people get really engaged in politics, and it's just been a cool thing to share memes about politics and shun people, and this whole cancel culture has just gotten ridiculous, man. And this is exactly what they plan. This is what they want. Order out of chaos, man. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Pressure from above, pressure from below. All right? And these politicians and these lawmakers are right in the middle. So they got the bankers and the people really pulling the strings, breathing down their neck. Plus they got us on the bottom rung, pushing up against them, bucking the system, but not truly doing shit because we're really doing what they want us to do, unbeknownst to a large majority of us. And it's you gotta understand, it's all about energy transfer. Okay, so like whenever they giving out these stimulus checks, right? They'll say, this is aid. We need this aid so bad, but y'all the one that closed the country down. Y'all the one that has got millions of people out of work. Almost 1 million people file for unemployment every week. New people. All right. I think last week it was 900 and something thousand, and every other week before that, I believe it's been 700 plus thousand. So it's all about energy transfer, and that's what you don't realize. That's why it's called currency, man. It always moves. It's always moving. It's like water. It's like current. But they're gonna give it to you for you to do what with it? And they say, well, we don't want that back. When has somebody ever given you money that they don't want back? And the fact that they're telling you that they don't want it back should give you a real cause to pause, because where are they going to get the money back from? Because we're already in debt. So it's pretty it's almost unpaid backable at this point. So that's how they're going to try to transition you over into something new. Because what they have planned in the future, yeah, what they have planned in the future is not very good for a lot of people. They really want to get rid of the middle class, which they're actively doing. There's going to be haves and have-nots, and the haves are going to be a very small percentage. You know what I mean? So this is the time, to just spend a little more time just researching and looking into things, and having a little more open mind about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's my first point. That's my first point. And I know I went off on a few turns there. But my whole point of that is now what do you, what do you think is gonna change? All right, this is what Sam Cooke was singing about. Change gonna come, what's gonna change? But this is the crazy thing about it is I've been on social media. I haven't really seen anything about Joe Biden himself. What have I been seeing? I've been seeing this. Black girl magic. You know what I mean? Black girl magic. And it's been my assumption that Joe Biden isn't gonna make it all the way through his presidency. I'm gonna just say that now for the record. I don't think he's gonna make it all the way through. I'm not wishing nothing upon him. I'm not saying what is and what isn't gonna happen, but I believe Kamala Harris will be the first black female president of the United States. And it's all this hullabaloo about her race. All right, if you look into it, you already know that her father is Jamaican and her mother is East Indian, Hindu. And and if you didn't know, her father had a plantation in Jamaica. Either her father or her grandfather, but y'all can look that up. But I've been seeing this meme a lot. No offense, but a lot of simple-minded folk. You know what I mean? A lot of y'all just simple-minded. Y'all don't understand the machinations of what's going on, but you actively supporting it. You know what I mean? Like ask the average black woman that supports Kamala Harris what she was doing before she was running for vice president. What she was doing before she was in Senate. She was a prosecutor. So these same black women that are on the internet enraged about the police killing innocent black people, quote unquote innocent black people, and the women that are on social media shunning the police and talking about how so many of so-and-so brothers is locked up and stuff. You don't realize that a prosecutor is worse than a cop could be, because for every one black man that cop kills, it's about 200 to 300 that people like this are sending to the penitentiary. All right, that's crazy. We got more brothers in the pen than we got in college, and it is what it is. I went to college. I didn't graduate, but at the same time, what are you going there for? Are you going there for indoctrination? Are you going there because somebody told you to go? Are you going because you know what you want to do? Intelligence will always be more important than knowledge. But it's a left and a right hand thing. You need both, honestly, to transcend and get to the highest level. You need the knowledge and the intellect. When you go to college, there's nothing teaching you about intellect. Going to and sitting in a classroom, reading a book and doing a report on something that somebody tells you to do. It just goes back to in school, and it was applied research and what was the other one? The applied research and the other kind of research that you do just because you're intrigued by it. You know what I mean? And there's very few people that do that kind of thing, especially in this day and age. That's why they have no problem spending all this money on this technology to develop it and do what with it? To entertain you? Like, what are we truly getting from this? And that's my whole point. What are we truly getting from this? You want your daughter to aspire to be a vice president or a president for what? You know what I mean? It starts in the home. We can make changes ourselves without these politicians. And honestly, relying on these politicians is what got us in the state we're in now. And just to bring this out, Rosa Parks, she was a member of the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leaders Corps, and that little charade that she got caught up in with the not giving up her seat, that was fraudulent. And it really did happen, but it didn't happen to her. It happened to a younger sister named Claudette Coleman. Y'all can look her up, Claudette Coleman. And that's who it really happened to. She was the one that really refused to give her seat up. But only problem is that she was 14 years old and pregnant, so they couldn't use that. And you know what I mean? That would have been a big eyesore for their coalition. So y'all just wanted to bring that out, man. Just don't be deceived, man. There's too many people being deceived. Even at this day and age, it's like they willing to be deceived. You know what I'm saying? And people just looking at the black and white, and they're not looking at the gray areas and stuff. But oh yeah, let me get back to what I said. The point I was trying to make about her race. Nothing against her race or nothing. I mean, I'm not one of these people gonna say, oh, she's not black or she's what. It is what it is. But my whole point is this: they'll post a headline and say the first black female vice president, da 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 da, and then I'll see another post that says why she shouldn't subscribe to being simply Asian or simply African American. Okay, well, why are you surprised when people are questioning her race whenever you could just say the first female vice president? Like the very first article that y'all put out will emphasize the race part of it, but then they get mad whenever somebody comes out and questions it. You see what I'm saying? Like that's exactly how they do. You know what I mean? And it just plays on the whole confusion paradigm that they got going in this society, breaking down the culture. What's left of it? Because there truly is no culture in America. There is no culture here. The culture of America is cancel culture. You know, America's like a fish bowl. America's like the TV of the world. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just watches America and gets entertained by America. That's all America is. And the only power we have is our military, who is, you know what I mean, it's just an active arm of the triumvirate of the banks, the Vatican, and the military. All right. So yeah, man, I just wanted to get my thoughts out on that, because, you know, people get emotionally invested in this stuff. And honestly, I've been said it from the start. I've never voted. I never will vote. And I feel like you're a buffoon if you do vote. Honestly, no disrespect, but only fools vote. Because you're not changing nothing. You're not doing anything. If anything this election showed you is that voting didn't matter at all. So imagine if nobody would have voted. They still would have been having a whole hullabaloo for 2-3 months about the shit. You know what I mean? Imagine if nobody voted. Will we still see what we saw? Yes, we would. Why? Because popular votes don't determine who gets in office. It's the electoral college, right? 270 something, 250 something, some odd members of each state collectively to make that 200 something. Then what is the whole point? So, yeah, I just wanted to get my thoughts out, man. Just don't get fooled by the BS. Stay vigilant. Focus on you. Focus on yours. Do what you got to do. And don't expect a handout. Peace.